Before the video begins, let me say that I am in no way affiliated with TrailTech, and you should refer to their website or contact them for official or additional product information. I've had so many questions and comments about the TrailTech Vapors that I installed on a few of my scooters that I decided to put together a little bit of info about them in case it could help others, and that's what this video is. There are lots of ways these gauges can be installed depending on application and installer preference, but hopefully I can give you a general overview of what you'll need to know to decide if you want to use a vapor and what's involved in installing one on a scooter. Let me start by showing you the vapor and what it does. This is the TrailTech Vapor. It's pretty small and light, so it's well suited for scooters. It performs multiple functions. It displays speed, a clock, trip distance, and ambient temperature on this screen, as well as engine speed up to 12,000 RPM around the left and top edges. Pressing the mode button changes to engine temperature in the corner, a numeric display of engine RPM up to 19,999, and either ride time or a stopwatch. Pressing mode again displays max speed, max RPM, max engine temperature, and either an odometer or an hour meter. There are yellow and red warning lights that can be used to alert you to high temperature and high RPM conditions that you customize. The Vapor also has a backlight that works very well. I haven't had any trouble reading it day or night. It does lack any type of fuel level input or battery meter, which are complaints I've heard from other riders. Neither of those really bother me, though a voltmeter would be kind of nice to have. I have never really liked the stock fuel gauges on my Chinese scooters because they aren't always reliable or linear, so that's no loss to me because I use my trip odometer to let me know when I need to fuel up. As long as I know roughly my fuel mileage and how much the tank holds, I leave a little room for error and I've been pretty safe filling up that way. Though I like the Vapor, you should definitely look around at other options before you decide. The MSRP is currently about $140 for a gauge kit, and it's not uncommon to spend a little more on extensions for sensors. You can find gauge solutions for substantially less with reduced functionality, or if you're willing to buy a Chinese product with limited support. There are also competitors around or above the price of a Vapor that have different styles and options. You can even find gauges that perform any function you'd need, and many you probably never will, and do full data logging. There are far too many options to buy a gauge that isn't what you want or doesn't meet your needs. The Vapor gauge itself is not the end of the story. You will need the appropriate sensors that allow it to measure speed and engine temperature. Exactly what you need will depend on the scooter. I'll start with temperature sensors. TrailTech offers a few types that serve different purposes. The Vapor will only measure one temperature, aside from ambient temperature, so you will have to choose just one type of sensor. Air-cooled scooter riders generally use thermistor rings that sit between the spark plug and the cylinder head to measure cylinder head temperature. These are offered in a few sizes to accommodate different spark plug sizes. You can measure your spark plug as shown, or decode the part number of the plug to find out which size you would need. Liquid-cooled engines can use either an underplug ring for CHT or a sensor that monitors coolant temperature. Cylinder head temperature is a good tuning tool and can tell you if the engine is overheating, but many liquid-cooled riders prefer to watch coolant temperature. Coolant temperature sensors can be placed in line with hoses using TrailTech's adapters, or they offer sensors that can be installed in radiator fins. They also have temperature probes that can be installed to measure coolant or other fluid temps and sell adapters for them that fit some plugs and fittings so four-stroke riders can monitor oil temperature if they choose to. You will also need to choose a speed sensor and magnet that is suitable for your scooter. There are two basic styles of speed sensors. Stick-on or screw-on sensors like these mount to a fork or a bracket. They come in a variety of different configurations, but the curved, stick-on version seems to be pretty popular and easy to install on many scooter forks. The other style is a thread-in speed sensor. They come in a couple of sizes and can be installed through a bracket or other solid structure near the wheel. The threaded sensors make setting the gap between the sensor and the magnet easier than some other methods. The speed sensor needs a magnet in close vicinity on a moving part, like the front wheel or a front brake disc. Magnets are available from TrailTech that can be epoxied on, installed into a brake rotor, or even inside of a bolt to replace an existing brake bolt. Look at the options and look over your scooter to help you decide what installation you would be most comfortable doing. You can also check out what I show in this video and other people's installs for motivation. Tachometer and power cables are mostly universal. There are different ways that they can be hooked up, but there aren't a lot of specialized options to choose for these to my knowledge. TrailTech offers a few gauge mounting solutions, but the standard one included with most kits is a plastic handlebar mount. It's lightweight, but works alright if you have naked bars. They also sell kits that can protect your vapor, or a small dash with indicator lights, as well as some metal mounts, but these come at premium prices. The threaded holes on the rear of the vapor allow it to be mounted to flat surfaces without the need for additional hardware. After you decide which components you'd like to use, you can either buy the vapor computer on its own and then purchase each sensor and accessory separately, or find a kit that meets your needs. If you can find a kit, it will probably save you money versus buying piece by piece. I have been told by other riders that they contacted TrailTech and put together a custom kit with the parts that they needed with assistance, so that may be another option. I have used kit number 752-402 on all three of my scooters that use a vapor. Mine are all the black versions of the computer. Part number 75-402 is the silver version. It features a 10mm CHT sensor that's good for the GY650 to 150cc 4-stroke engine. I bought a 14mm thermistor separately when I used it on my Minarelli style 2-stroke. The speed sensor is a stick-on style that works well with many front shocks, and the wire has been long enough to work for all of my scooters with length to spare. The magnet kit included has 3 different magnets to give you multiple installation options. The tach and power wires are pretty much universal. I had to buy an extension for the CHT thermistor for each scooter that I've used this kit on. The 48-inch extension has been more than enough on all 3 of my scooters. I also like to install a fuse holder and a 0.5 amp fuse in line, per TrailTech's recommendation in their instructions, which needs to be purchased separately. Watch part 2 of this video to see a vapor being installed.